Hello, Denise Farmer. Hello.
Hey, Ebony, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I just came by just to see you and to see that everything was okay with your setup. It looks like everything is going well.
Yes, it is. And I believe I should be starting here like any second now, correct?
Yep, that is correct. And Ara is here to support you, and she will, let you know be your timekeeper as well.
Yes, her and I have connected and had a great conversation. She
Awesome.
was wonderful.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, Ebony.
Thank you. So, Ara, shall we begin?
Sure.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Ebony Travis, Director of Global HR and EEO Policy, Programs, and Audit at Boston Scientific. Thanks for allowing me to join you today to discuss how a company like Boston Scientific gets recognized for driving diversity, equity, and inclusion at all levels of the organization. Let's make this an interactive session by putting your questions in the chat feature if you have them as I go through this presentation. When questions come in, my diversity MBA partner and I will indeed be looking in the chat, and I know that she will alert me as to any questions that might be coming in if I miss them. But I promise you I'll be paying attention, so again, we can make this interactive. So let me tell you a little bit about the journey. It all started with an initiative called Creating Equal Opportunities for Growth as part of our long-term diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy. But let me share how DEI is about 4 things for us here. It's winning in the marketplace. It's leveraging all talent to yield the best performance. It's creating a high-performance culture for high-performing talent. And it's progress over time, not overnight, which is what our Chief Diversity Officer always says, and I love it. I can honestly say this all started with solid leaders who truly are vested in DEI in our organization. And especially when you have a strong and passionate Chief Diversity Officer like ours, she truly helped to steer the ship and gain so much trust and support in driving this innovative initiative along with her team. And let's not forget all of the employees as well. DEI is something we value on a local and global scale, as mentioned earlier. You see, since 2014, we've been focused on achieving our strategic goal of industry leadership. But this particular initiative, it started in 2017. But before I dive into the details, allow me to provide you a high-level overview of what this is all about. So 2017 was our global employee engagement survey data. That was our catalyst for action. In early 2018, we gathered and analyzed employee insights. And later in the year, we committed to 3 key focus areas to accelerate the progress and secure executive sponsorship and support for this work, while also engaging cross-functional teams, employees, and leaders to implement the work. But to date, we continue to build on and evolve the work. And again, I want to thank everyone who's joining us here today. And if you want to put your name in the chat and where you're located, who you work for, I do welcome, and I'm sure everyone else would as well. So as part of our long-term strategy, the Creating Equal Opportunity for Growth initiative was launched. And it was launched to support career advancement and address barriers that women and multicultural talent faced, as identified in our company's 2017 Global Employee Engagement Survey. We had questions such as, Do men and women with equal ability, education, and experience also have equal opportunities for promotion at our company? Well, we learned that women answered 14 percentage points less favorably than men. And Black women and men in the US and Puerto Rico responded with lower ratings about career opportunities compared to their peers of other racial and ethnic identities. While it was possible that the difference reported was based on multiple variables, we believed it was vitally important to explore those root causes for such a disconnect across our employee population. So, we partnered with an external company called Language and Cultural Worldwide, LCW. And I hope many of you are familiar with them. And we partnered with them to help us better understand what was behind the difference by conducting focus groups and individual interviews with women, as well as specific ethnic groups in the US and Puerto Rico. And they supported this work by conducting the virtual focus groups, interviews, anonymous survey responses in early 2018 from across all our locations and businesses. And the objective, everyone, was to collect a cross-section of perspectives and identify what could be done to address the gaps moving forward. And from this work, we were able to see key themes where we were able to create 3 areas of focus. Therefore, the initiative comprised of 16 global programs organized under these 3 areas of focus: increasing transparency and communication of our goals. And if you visit our website, you'll see our 3-up goals. But prior to that, we had our 10-20-40 goals. And we communicated that on our external website, employee communications, internal intranet site, you name it. Second was enhancing diversity awareness and inclusive competency skills. And we did that through Catalyst, I'm sure everyone's familiar with, through their MARC program, Men Advocating Real Change. We also did it through leadership programs, unconscious bias training, creating an inclusion toolkit. And third, driving accountability, our last area of focus, where we promoted measurable progress. And we did that. And driving the accountability to do that is we created these qualified diverse slates. We put basically a policy in place, diversity scorecards where we could hold people accountable, leadership and development programs, such as our Diverse Leaders of Tomorrow and our Accelerate sponsorship program for women. But in measuring these key results from 2017 and through 2020, when COVID, where we were still going through COVID, recognizing we had a few bumps with COVID, the murder of George Floyd. But you know what? Like many of you, I'm sure, we did not let this slow us down, for we kept our employees engaged. We used the innovation that we had to ensure we did just that. Our leadership support and full employee engagement helped us keep everyone on our DEI journey. And let me say, we saw a notable rise in hiring of women and an upward movement of women, helping increase the number of women in leadership roles, including women at the director and VP level, women of color at the manager and supervisor level in US and Puerto Rico. And also, we think about our board of directors, where we have 3 women, 30%, and 2 of whom are of color, and that's since 2017. We expanded programs aimed at attracting and developing multicultural talent even through the pandemic, contributing to 37+% total number of multicultural women. We went from 2,139 to 2,936. That was pretty amazing. We were really proud of that. And the unconscious bias training that we rolled out for all employees globally through e-learning and actual live training sessions, as well as virtual training sessions. We also, because of COVID and how we were all home and able to be in front of our technology, we saw a surge in our employee resource group growth. And it was across all diversity dimensions, including the continued expansion of our women's network, which is our largest ERG. We went from 17 to 27 chapters globally outstanding. But this was due to the engagement during the pandemic and also that external recognition, including the Forbes America's top 10 best employers for diversity on the 2021 list. We went up to 8 from number 122 in the year 2020. So it's really amazing work there that was done. And again, if you have any questions, I welcome you to put them in the chat feature. Or if you want to show your face, raise your hand and speak up, I welcome that as well. So now, why was this particular initiative important to the company? And how did it allow us to get recognized through catalysts for this? Well, when employees can be their full selves, it drives meaningful innovation. And diversity is one of our core values. It enables that high performance, and it sure does make coming to work so rewarding. And you know, diverse companies are magnets for top talent. They relate better to customers and tend to be more innovative, all of which can create that competitive edge and increase market share. And the initiative, it sparked a real culture shift for us and how we handle DEI issues in a systematic way, and has continued to drive a culture of seeking DEI excellence with every year that passes. And let me pause. I just saw a question come in, and I really appreciate this question. So the question is, did you see an increase in sales profit? And is your CEO a man or a woman? And that is a great question, Denise. So one, yes, even though we went through the bumps like any organization did during the pandemic, there were their ebbs and flows. Now, prior to the pandemic, as we continue to bring in that diverse talent, we did see an increase in sales and profits. 100% we did, because you know, having a diverse organization truly can help drive change, and really your customers want to see that. And we know that our healthcare professionals, because that is who our primary target is in our community of our patients, they also appreciated the fact that we had much more diversity in our sales organization. And our CEO is a white male. And honestly, he is a very supportive CEO prior to even COVID and the murder of George Floyd, but even more so when we went through all of that. So I hope that helps, Denise, and thanks for the question. And anyone else, I welcome. Oh, I see another one. So how is DEI integrated with your company's ESG program? Well, that's a great question. And we just recently hired an ESG Vice President, Catherine Unger. We are so excited to have her. And right now, she is focused on making sure that we keep DEI in the forefront and that it is indeed tied to our ESG program. So that is underway as we speak. You know, DEI has always been a part of our corporate responsibility. And so Catherine's going to come in and make sure she strengthens the strategy to ensure that we continue to be focused on that, because we have to make sure that our employees represent the communities in which we serve. So thank you for that question. All right. Well, any other questions? I really appreciate it. So, you know, let me go back to our goals and how they provide the direction for meaningful progress. So, you know, I mentioned the 10-20-40. In 2018, we launched our 10-20-40 by 2020 goals. What does that mean? Being recognized as a top 10 leader for workplace inclusion, such as rankings published by Working Mother Media, Disability Equality Index, the Human Rights Campaign Corporate Equality Index, just to name a few. The 20% representation of people of color in the US and Puerto Rico at manager and supervisor level, and also increase of 40% representation of women globally at the manager and supervisor level. Now, we succeeded our 10-20-40 goals, and I'm really proud to say that. And so now we're in the midst of working toward our 3-up goals by 2023 to deliver a 3 percentage point increase from the 10-20-40 goals. Even though, again, we faced, like many organizations, a few bumps in the road during the pandemic, we have not let our foot off the gas, and we know we're going to succeed those goals by the end of the year. We are transparent about goals, as mentioned earlier, externally, internally, communications, our annual performance report, you name it. And when it comes to the engagement and accountability for DEI efforts, it extends to all leaders and employees. Diversity is a core value. DEI responsibility extends to all of our business units, our leaders and employees, as just mentioned. And our leaders are empowered to make decisions and model behavior. For example, they partake in our Global Council for Inclusion. Our executive committee is passionate and they're engaged. They do, local leadership sponsorship. They execute, some of their councils on a local level within their own business units. They drive DEI within their pockets in which they lead. And DEI is a priority where we have added inclusive leadership behavior into people leadership commitment. So as part of our performance reviews, we have to ensure that we are exhibiting that people leadership commitment. And our Spark survey, that employee reviews of their managers, we ensure that we look at that feedback and that our leaders who are being reviewed by their employees are looking at that feedback and striving to make change when they see a gap somewhere. And we also do a regular review of our scorecard, our goals, our progress, our talent reviews, succession planning, and so much more. And we integrate all of this into processes and practices. I mentioned earlier about, qualified candidate slates, where we want to ensure that they are diverse candidate slates. And we have a process in place to ensure that. And also we're increasing our partnerships to tap into diverse candidate pools through Catalysts, through Society of Women Engineers, diversity best practices, historically Black college and universities, National Society of Black Engineers, and many others. And again, we also have that continued feedback mechanism and engagement. For example, through the pulse surveys I mentioned, the unconscious bias training is available to all employees in 18 languages. And when we do any type of interviewing, we ensure that our interviewer has gone through the unconscious bias training once again, because every time before they start to do interviews, we want to remind them the importance of not looking at just the person, but truly understanding all aspects of the individual and not just looking at the color of their skin or their gender. Now I see another question. Let me just open that up and see who's got a couple of questions here. Okay. Do you empower your ERGs by having that as part of your mission and let participation in ERGs be part of your employee goals? Yes, we do. I am proud to say that we do. It is in everyone's PDC that they should be participating in an ERG in some form or fashion. They should ensure that they are allowing their employees the opportunity to go network, learn, grow, and so much more. And so we take great pride in ensuring that we encourage our leaders to allow our employees to have that opportunity to do just that. So thank you for that question. So what are some of those unique aspects of this initiative, creating equal opportunity for growth? Well, while globally focused, local application empowered our business, our regions and functions to maximize the progress that we had with this work. And this initiative was actually governed through our Global Council for Inclusion. Again, where all of our executive committee members are a part of, and each of our 9 ERG leads are a part of. And our values are driven to ensure authenticity and goals that have a top-down, bottom-up approach, allowing people to see themselves represented in our leadership ranks. They are more likely to join us, stay, and grow their career here when they can see that and feel that. I can attest, I've been with the organization for 25 years as of October 1st. And there's the transparent reporting. It's an important part of how we hold ourselves accountable. If people don't see the data, a lot of times they won't believe we're actually making progress. So it's important that we're transparent about where we're at and where we may be lacking behind. And our 9 ERGs are essential to our inclusive culture. We support each ERG by designating global and local executive sponsors, and we also provide financial resources. Thousands of employees across 20 countries participate. And again, I remind you, our women's network is the largest with 27 chapters in 4 global regions. And also there's listening to employees that shaped our priorities. When you think about the murder of George Floyd, I'm sure like many organizations and even like ours, you had real talk conversations that allowed people to truly share what they were experiencing and going through and trying to understand why. We had executive committee open letters sent by our Black employees to our executive committee members, to all of our leadership at the top. And that really sparked even more engagement because our Black employees actually felt heard. And because of the murder of George Floyd, we were able to create the Combating Racism Strategy, where we were able to help our communities on the ground, small business owners, help with, healthcare, you name it. But like many organizations, we did the same. And we did put our money right into what we were doing, as well as our employees volunteering themselves to be a part of executing that strategy. And during the pandemic, we gained insight and responded to meet employees' needs. We expanded some of our benefits. Now we have more flexibility where people can work from home. We have the hybrid and remote flexibility. Let me pause for a moment and see if there's any questions here. And so I see a couple of chats here. So it's critical to drive DEI into departmental and individual performances goals. That is correct. So how closely are the DEI goals tied to the business? Do they go to the level of your services and products? So actually our DEI goals are really tied to more of our representation. And I'm sure many of you, if like ourselves, we tie those DEI goals to the performance, but also to their bonuses, right? So if they don't achieve a certain percentage of their local DEI goals that will help drive our global DEI goals, they'll get dinged on their bonuses. So as you can imagine, it's really important to them to make sure that they're doing it for all the right reasons to accomplish their goals. So we indeed make sure that our strategy, our goals are tied to the business. And thank you. So a question you have on data collection, and thank you for the compliment. It seems that like the organizations are collecting data, but once collected, they don't really know what to do with it. Also seems data seems stale and stagnant. It's collected once, but not refreshed often enough to give it an accurate demographic overview of the company. So what are some best practices for DEI data collection and analyzing? Well, we have a great team of analytics who created an app, and we call it Tableau, but it's an app on people's mobile devices, your laptop, your iPad, and our data is refreshed daily. Hear me correctly, daily. It is tied to our success factors system. And so, new hires come on, people leave the organization, people are promoted. Our system constantly updates that data because when our CEO or our CHRO needs to see this data, we have to ensure we're giving them real live data. And we also ensure that on our websites, we are updating this data quarterly. And of course, we put it in our end of the year reports. We do it as part of our business performance reviews, when we have them every quarter, et cetera. So actually, the best practice is ensuring that you have an analytics team that truly understands the data, what's behind it. Why do you need to know the representation? What exactly are you trying to measure? Are you measuring how many are being promoted? How many are leaving the company? How long have some people stayed and been in the same position for a long time and have not had any opportunities for growth? There's a lot of things that go behind that data that we look at. From the attrition to attrition, or retention, I apologize, to promotions, to lateral moves, you name it. If they're moving from one organization, business unit to another business unit, we see what's happening in that data. I hope that helps a little bit. I could go on and on because there's a lot more, but that's very high level there. Okay, no, and daily, it's correct. And that's because it's feeding into the main HR system that allows it to see this data in real time. So post initiative, We're continuing our progress to foster an equitable, inclusive culture. We're making progress over time, not overnight. And this is because of our leaders, our strong partnership with our HR business partners. Yeah, HR, and many allies in the organization. And most importantly, our employees. We continue those ongoing listening sessions. We've enhanced our DEI questions on our 2021 Global Employee Engagement Survey. We act and we support, for example, the situation in Ukraine. We've supported. When things are happening externally and our employees are feeling it, we step in to help support them by providing them the benefits and resources they need in order to get that support. Because mental health and wellness is important. And I hope it's as important to you all as it is to our organization. We also have been identifying more opportunities to expand education and development programs for more employees. Once again, because of the murder of George Floyd. And we knew there was so much to learn from that. And our employees wanted to learn more and understand. We created the anti-racism and cultural history training. We do live sessions, e-learnings, you name it. We also have what we call the GROW program, which is giving real opportunities for valuable work experience. It's a skill building program for our product builders, our non-exempt employees. DEI is a business imperative. When I look back on our journey, our success would not be possible without that foundation and leadership from the top of our organization. We understand as a company dedicated to advancing science for life, how important DEI is to all. And we are relentlessly focused on always improving what we do and never being satisfied with the status quo so that we can create value for our patients, our customers, and our employees. So with that, I'll pause. I'll thank you for so many great questions. And I'll see if there's a few more questions as we have a few more minutes. Does anyone have, and if you want to come off mute and you want to show yourself, by all means, do so. I welcome it. I love interaction, even when it's virtual. Oh, thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. I'm very passionate about DEI. 25 years with the same company, been doing this before even DEI was spoke of. I was a part of co-founding our Bridge Black ERG many, many years ago, again, when there was only like 3 Black people in the organization, that includes myself, and also a co-founder of our women's network. So for me, I feel as if DEI has just always been embedded in me, especially as a daughter to a Hispanic woman. Dad was Black and passed away, but married to a Caucasian man, where there are conversations where there's a lot of needing to understand where each of us is coming from. So as a diverse family, I definitely get it, and I'm very passionate about this. So thank you. Thank you all for the comments. Do you have any? Oh, yes, I see another question here. Love questions. Let's see here. So the question here is, do you have any information about how inclusive interview panelists may help with inclusive hiring? Pairing this with inclusive candidate slates. So inclusive interview panels. So help me understand that just a little bit here. Are you saying diverse panelists? Help me understand that just a little bit. That's a unique question. I hadn't heard of inclusive interview panels. Like we talk about group panels where we have diverse individual interviewers interviewing everyone. And that really helps so that, if the people interviewing the candidate, okay, I love it. We're on the same wavelength. So yes, we definitely do that. That is a part of our process. Not only do we want to make sure that, the interviewer understands the importance of not having bias get in the way, it's also ensuring that when we have a group of panelists that are doing an interview for, say, like a manager and above position, we ensure those panelists of interviewers are indeed diverse in color and gender. Oh yes, most definitely. And so, and can you talk about best practices of ERGs to move the needle with our organization? Yes, so some great best practices is, ERGs should not just be a social club. So we saw that over time, especially as I've grown up in the organization. We started the ERGs as more of a social club, right? Because it was a way to get to know people and interact with people. But we also learned that ERGs can provide more value than just networking and connecting people. We learned that ERGs can actually be a part of supporting the business, driving business growth, helping to bring diverse talent in. And therefore, we challenged each of our ERG leads to create a strategy to help do just that. But we also wanted to ensure that they were honing in on their own leadership capabilities. Because when we put people into that leadership role for the ERG, we are supporting them to help them get to that next leadership opportunity that they're seeking. We try to ensure it's a give and take. You know, they shouldn't just be doing the work on top of their day job. What are we doing to ensure we're helping them grow and get to that next level? So we redesigned our ERG handbook to ensure that it had all the details of what your ERG should consist of, what are the roles and responsibilities, and what are some of the outcomes that we should expect from our ERG leaders and their members. And then we also, for our global lead, the one lead over the 27 women's ERG network chapters, we ensure that that top global lead gets some type of a stipend for all the work that they've led for the 2 years that they're leading their global ERG. So you really have to think about what's that give and take, and how do you tie your ERGs to the business? How do you ensure they're helping your business be successful while also ensuring that they're growing their own career and also engaging employees to want to come and be a part of their ERG? Does that help a little bit? I know I've got just a few minutes here, but I do
Yes,
hope
thank
that
you.
helps. Ah, okay, wonderful. Good to hear your
Absolutely.
voice.
I know, sorry. Yep, that was
It's
fantastic. Thank you. Yep.
Oh, no, thank you for the question. Everyone, your questions have been really, really insightful. You know, again, thank you so much. Thanks for the compliments. Thanks for taking time to join this. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you have any other questions, just shoot me a message there. It'd be my pleasure to answer. I believe together as DEI professionals, we should share our best practices. We should support one another. We should make sure that we're sharing the same message about how important DEI is, not just to our company and our employees, but to the world. So again, I thank you. I appreciate your time, and make it a great day and rest of the week, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.